happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome to our next Cruise Chat Live. My name is Donovan, your travel agency owner, and I'm live today with our good friend Mary from Explora Journeys. We're having a little bit of a redo today. We had a few too many technical difficulties on kind of both ends last week, so we're going to give this a redo. And from our kind of pre live testing, I think things are going to work out a lot better. So, Mary, so excited to have you on today. I know I've had a lot of folks ask about Explora Journeys. They keep hearing, rumblings in the cruise world about this new cruise line, but not a lot of folks know what you guys are all about. So, really excited to have you on today to kind of walk us through this ocean state of mind that Explora Journeys talks about, and really help us to feel what an Explora journey is like. So welcome on today.
Well, thank you. And thank you for finding time for me again. Just in case somebody isn't aware, you were gracious enough to invite me last week. I was traveling, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity. And I was at a hotel. I thought, oh, no problem. I'll do it from my hotel room. And about 30 minutes before we were to start, somebody snapped a cable somewhere and the internet in the entire building went out. So I had to run like heck, found a Starbucks, but as we all know, internet at a Starbucks is spotty at best, and it was noisy. And so it certainly was not the opportunity that I had hoped to have, and it wasn't the impression that I wanted to give of Explora. So I'm grateful to have this opportunity. Now, we've still been having a little issues with how my slides are playing, but at least I think we're hearing and seeing things better.
Yes.
So Donovan, what's my next step? Do you want me to share my screen and see if that's working?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's share your screen, and we will rock and roll that way. And again, I think we're gonna be able to work through this just fine. So as
All
soon as I
righty.
see that pop up, we'll get your slides up on the screen. And while we're doing that, folks, if you're new to the stream, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. I always love to see where all the platforms are pushing us out all across the world. Be sure to drop your questions in the comments. I'll be sure to ask Mary any questions that come up so we can get those answered from the expert herself. All right. We can see your screen. I see Explore Journeys. We are ready.
All right. Well, thanks again so much. And as you so very aptly said, we are still a new brand. So this opportunity is that much more important to me. A little bit of our heritage, sort of what was the creation, the foundation behind us. We are privately owned by an extraordinarily wealthy Italian family who owns the world's largest cargo shipping company, MSC Group. They also own MSC Cruises, so perhaps if anyone joining us today has heard of them or familiar with them, you might know that name. A few years ago, the family decided that they wanted to create an ultra luxury experience. But they were smart enough to know that already out there in the world of ocean travel, there were a number of traditional luxury cruise lines all doing an extraordinary job. So we knew that we wanted to do something that would distinguish us from what was already available. And interestingly enough, because the family has such a deep passion and love for the ocean, their goal became to create a vessel and a series of vessels that would appeal as much to the luxury land guest as to the avid cruiser. So we always talk about ourselves not as a cruise line, but as a provider of ocean journeys. And really, we are much more like an ultra luxury resort at sea. So for those listening, if you love to cruise, you're going to love us. If you're listening because you've heard a little something about us and you're sitting there going, well, this is fine, but I'm not a cruiser, you are still going to love us. And now let me prove that. That's a bold statement, and let me prove that to you.
I love it.
So we were designed and built on 5 key pillars: space, choice, design, immersive journeys, warm hospitality, obviously. But the two that really make us so unique are the space and the choice. And so let me, as I take you through the ship, sort of explain to you how we have brought that to life. And the first thing I'm going to do is show you a quick 1 minute video. There is no narration, so I will point out a few highlights. And one of the first things you're going to see is Sakura, which means cherry blossom in Japanese. This is one of our 6 standalone restaurants, exquisite. One of our 4 pools. I always like to point out the thickness of the mattresses around the pools. As I say, they're better than many hotel beds. And every single element, from the lighting to the entertainment. This is one of our 3 Steinway pianos that we have on board, one of our infinity pools. Everything was really thought about to the absolute finest detail. And although we are larger than a private yacht, we're designed by the world's premier designer of private super yachts. And now, what you're about to see here, this is the essence of Explore Journeys. This is our lobby and our lobby bar. We can all agree it doesn't look anything like a ship. So, the whole idea was to create the look, the feel, the ambiance of an ultra luxury resort at sea. Those people who, as I said, love to cruise the world are going to find themselves so happy here. But again and again and again, we welcome people on board, often almost, begrudgingly, and they end up being truly converted to ocean travel. And as I said, I know that's a bold statement, but I can give you a great reference. I had a client who sailed with us and loved it. So she decided she was going to go back for her 60th birthday. And she said to me, I'm going to tell my family, and maybe a few people will come with me. Well, from a few, it went to 19 suites. They had quite the big party. But while she was on board, she emailed me and she said, when I decided to do all of this, my brother came to me and said, listen, I'm not a cruiser. I'm only doing this because it's you and you're my sister and it's your 60th birthday. I'm going to take one for the family. So, mister, I don't even want to be here. Halfway through, had his sister go to our ambassador desk to book him on an Alaska journey coming up. So, we have so many people that go from non cruisers to converted to ocean travel. And a lot of it is just because of the beauty and the uniqueness of our ships. Now, an added benefit, and this Donovan can tell you is true in all luxury ocean products, is we are a great value proposition, particularly when you compare us to luxury land resorts. So at Explore Journeys, you will enjoy your accommodations in a suite, premium spirits and wines throughout the ships, in the suites, bars, lounges, restaurants, access to the spa thermal area, which I'll talk about, all your gratuities. And so, this next thing for me is a really big deal. If anyone who is with us today has sailed on a ship of any caliber, high to low, you know that Wi Fi at sea is notoriously not very dependable, kind of like my Wi Fi at Starbucks last week. But unlike my Wi Fi at Starbucks, it's quite expensive. So, being brand new builds with all the new technology, our ships have two providers of Wi Fi, and every single suite has its own router. So I have done very similar presentations to what I'm doing now from my suite on my ship, and actually again had absolutely flawless Wi-Fi.
That's
So for
amazing.
those of you that are listening, and I think we all agree that none of us go away on vacation anymore, sadly, and just say, "Oh, I'm going to disconnect from work. I'm going to disconnect from the family. I'm going off grid." Nobody goes off grid. So to know that you have truly high quality Wi-Fi and that we're offering unlimited minutes for 3 devices per guest is both a value savings and a comfort factor. So currently, our first of the 6 ships, Explorer 1, just celebrated her second anniversary in August. Explorer 2, that you see here, celebrated her first last month. And next month, we will take delivery of Explorer 3. I'll talk a little bit later about where our ships are and where we're going to be. But what I
Mary,
like,
let me stop
yes,
you really
do it.
really fast if you don't mind. That video
Not at
came
all.
across great. Can you try to move your slides past that? I think we got maybe hung up on that video just
Oh,
really
shoot.
fast. Let's see
Yeah, no,
here.
I've been moving them since. So now it's not moving again. Maybe I'll have to.
No, looks we
All
might
right,
be
let me
stuck for just a
stop
few seconds.
sharing and,
Oh, there we go.
and
Perfect. That's it. I got
oh,
it.
well. And now I've just unshared. So let
That's
me
okay.
let me reshare.
Yeah, that's all right. Bring it back up.
Are you seeing all journeys include?
Not quite yet.
Are you seeing anything? Oh
No,
yeah, I'm
not
jinxed on
yet.
this. All right, well, let me go back here. I think I'm jinxed.
That's okay. We're gonna work through this
Well,
together.
every incredibly patient group here.
All right, we're gonna add you back on. I see all journeys include.
All
Perfect.
right, everybody hold your breath
Golden.
that this continues to work.
We
So
can
this
see it
was
great.
all right. So I've talked about what's included, and then I was just talking about our ships and where they're going to be. So now just tell me so I don't keep asking. Are you seeing a slide that says our mutual guests?
I still see all journeys include.
Oh my God. I swear I'm jinxed. Because it's going through, but you saw the first one's just fine, right?
That's right. Yeah, I see all
That is,
journeys include. I don't know why we're stuck there.
I don't know either. This is so frustrating. And nothing's moving forward.
No.
Well, this is baffling to me. I'll try one more time. Just when I thought everything was working the way we'd wanted it to, Donovan.
I know it was working just great, but let's bring it back up and see what happens. Okay, I see 6 ships. I see Solo Sophisticate.
Okay, hold on.
That's
Let me
working.
go here. All right, you're seeing Solo Sophisticate. Okay, well, hold your
Dude.
breath and let's hope this goes. So, I
Okay.
just wanted to talk about some of the key demographics that have really sort of gravitated to us. Of course, we welcome everyone, but starting with the Solo Sophisticate, as I'm sure your audience knows, ocean travel is a wonderful way to go as a solo traveler because there's so many opportunities to meet other guests. But I think particularly on Explore Journeys, we do this very well for a few reasons. We absolutely have groups where we will invite our solo travelers to come together to meet one another and to do activities together. But if you remember, we talked about those pillars of space and choice and how we have a lot of space on the ship. So we've created a lot of choices, which means all of our venues are still intimately sized. You're not in this big cavernous dining room or anything huge. And I think we all know that if you're in a smaller environment, it's much easier as an individual to strike up a conversation with the people next to you than if you're in this very large room. So another thing I like to highlight, and I'm just going to ask, do you see Ocean Terrace Suites or not?
I see Solo Sophisticate. It seems like whatever
Oh,
you did right at the beginning, right when you brought it up, it was working great. And
I'm
then,
I don't know what I'm doing the same thing I did then. So now this is not going forward either, right?
no, we're on Solo Sophisticate on our side, what we see.
Oh my goodness. Well, I hate to do this, but I the only thing I can think of is if I stay in presenter mode and see if you can at least are you seeing it now in presenter mode? It's not great, but at least it would advance.
Not no, not yet. Try to add it or share screen again, and then I'll pull it back up
Okay.
to share with everybody. Okay, we're adding you back on so we can see it. So yeah, you may be able just to leave it there and then go down to the next slide. Okay, that works. So I see Ocean Terrace Suite now. So I think leave it like that, and we should be okay. We can see the Ocean Terrace Suite.
I do apologize. I truly don't know. I was like kind of got the whammy on me here with this thing. So I'll make these as big as I can. So what I wanted to say about ocean travel is I know that there are certain lines when someone books a solo fare, they get what's called a solo cabin. Um, our philosophy is that a solo guest is just as important as everybody else. So we have no such thing as solo cabins. Our lead in category of suite that you see here is an Ocean Terrace suite. These are 300 square feet of interior space with a terrace of an additional 77. So this is actually designed to hold two adults and a child. So obviously, as a solo traveler, you have really huge space to enjoy while you're on board. I would also like to point out the picture in the top right. You see the walk-in closet. You see the vanity with the mirror in the drawer. There you will find a Dyson hair dryer. And every single bathroom in every single category has a heated marble floor. I do want to mention we actually have a total of 461 suites. Every suite is oceanfront. Every suite has a private terrace with full ocean view. There's no such thing as any sort of accommodation that would be considered smaller or less desirable view. Everyone has the same gorgeous views. So we also have very attractive solo pricing. Sometimes the supplement starts at 25%, go up to 50. Donovan can always quote that for you, but we do on occasion have times where we will have a 0% solo supplement. So always reach out to Donovan on that and he can check because we understand that there's nothing more frustrating for a solo traveler than having to write, than having to pay these high supplements.
I think real fast, Mary. That's a great point that I found a lot of folks who maybe are new to cruising don't realize is that for most cruise lines out there, they price cabins based on 2 people being in the cabin. So whether there's one person or whatever, you're still in essence paying for 2 people to be in there, even if you're traveling by yourself. So to your point, what Explorer Journeys does in reducing that solo or single supplement, or in some cases having none, really can save you a lot of money compared to more traditional cruise lines out there. That really is just fantastic.
Absolutely. And Donovan, I'll make sure we've got a couple of journeys left this year where we still have a solo 0%. So I'll make sure
Awesome,
to follow up with you so that you have those.
definitely.
So then the next demographic, if you will, that has really gravitated to us is one of the modern affluent, or as we like to call them, kind of loosely based, the working wealthy. So you could think of that as mid 30s to pre retirement. And I would say there's a number of reasons why this demographic has really gravitated to us. Many of these folks have children, and we are family friendly. Now, before people listening go, oh my God, I'm out, please understand that we are welcoming a limited number of families. We like to say we look for the sophisticated family where the children are pretty well traveled and well behaved, not the kids that are going to see how many people they don't know they can get wet when they do cannonballs in the pool. And there is, Donovan, you know that. There is a big difference between that style of travel.
That sounds
So,
like something I would do.
well, probably, I'm sure me too. That's probably why I know that. So, but there's absolutely that family that has traveled well with their kids.
Yes.
And so they want the luxury, but they also want their children to be accepted and have things to do. So we do have connecting suites. I'll talk a little bit in just a minute about what we can offer for the kids.
Okay.
The second thing is this is a generation that again wants luxury, but they don't want formality. And when you look at that age span, so if you look at the younger side of that, the 30s and that, many of these gentlemen, and this is really directed towards our male guests, have never in their lives worn a suit and tie to work. That's just how society has evolved. So for them, the idea of having to wear a suit and tie on vacation is so truly completely foreign. Some I don't even think own it. So they want to be well dressed, but they don't want that formality that some traditional lines can offer. So we call ourselves European luxury lifestyle. Um, in the evening in our fine dining venues, we ask our gentlemen to wear collared shirts and trousers. We respectfully say no jeans, sneakers, t-shirts, which is pretty achievable, I think, right? Um, and they love that. And then the third element to why this is so attractive to them is this is a generation that was raised with the internet, with born with devices in their hands. They certainly do not disconnect. And on many ships, when the internet is, as I said, so spotty at best and expensive as well, to know that they're going to have high speed Wi Fi complimentary is a great comfort to them. Whether they're doing a workcation or whether they're just checking in on their parents or their kids at home. So, all of these elements have brought that to where they really find that this is just the luxury they want in that casually elegant European style. And if they have kids, where the kids will also be happy. So, thinking of that, we might suggest maybe they want a little more space, particularly if they're traveling with a child. So, we have four categories of penthouses, and they range from 463 on the left, and that's the large picture that you are seeing. So, definitely more floor space, but still open plan. And then we have a premier that has a separate sleeping area. I wouldn't call it a full one bedroom, but the bed area it closes off. And on the bottom right, you're actually looking at the grand penthouse. And this is a true one bedroom accommodation. So lots of space to enjoy while you're in your suite. And then generational gatherers is something that we do very well. And this is really the multi-gen where the grandparents are maybe traveling with their adult children and the grandkids. And sometimes it's just for a great family vacation, somebody's birthday, special occasion. So I did mention that we have accommodations for the kids. And on the right, you'll see the Nautilus Club. This is open daily from 9 to midnight. It's, of course, complimentary, available for children from 6 all the way to 18. Now we have activities directors here who are multilingual. So for the kids in this picture, for example, younger kids, if the parents wanted to go do a couples massage or just, have a little break, can take the kids here. The activities directors will spend time with them. They don't impose activities either. They don't say, okay, kids, it's 2 o'clock, we're doing this. They chat with the kids to find out a little bit about their interests and things. And then they'll work with the kids to create
Sure.
very, very curated experiences for them. I also like to point out, you see, of course, the pool table. This is still a great hangout for the tweens and teens. They're, of course, especially in their own minds, very mature and certainly do not need supervision. Just they'll tell their parents that. But the parents can know that the kids are here, that they're kind of safe and structured and looked out for. We have VR games, all sorts of things. So, really, it's a nice feature for the children, again, for the parents and the grandkids. Um, so for that, we might suggest that the grandparents take one of our one-bedroom residences. Now they're only called residences because they're so beautiful. You are going to feel like it's your home at sea. They range in size from 750 square feet to 1,600 square feet. So
Wow.
what you're seeing here is a Serenity suite. We have both the Serenity and the Cocoon are aft. They have beautiful living and dining space, but what I love about these two suites is that they have these gorgeous wraparound terraces. And so, obviously, Donovan, you know your families and you know your clients. And so, the ones that would like to have a lot of private outdoor space, I mean, especially if, if you're in the Caribbean in winter and you've come from cold Chicago like me, really, you want to spend as much time outside as possible,
Yes.
this would be lovely. Now, on the flip side, we have the retreat. So this is 1,250 square feet. The big trade off, if you can see, is that the terrace is quite tiny, but you have this very, very large living gathering area. So I think this works well if maybe you have grandparents and parents with smaller kids, because as I say, you're kind of looking for the sophisticated family, but little kids need to be able to be little kids. So they could be in here, they could be playing games on the floor, they could be wrestling around, beating each other up like I used to do with my brother, just being kids privately, comfortably. They've got all this room for the families to gather. And this retreat, as well as the coon, also have a half bath. So if the grandparents take that, they don't have to have the grandkids in their bathroom. So really nice features here. Another demographic, or you will, or kind of segment of the travel industry that has really found us are the wellness seekers, whether you're looking to stay fit or relax and indulge. So, our spa is 7,500 square feet. We have 11 treatment rooms, 21 treatments. Also included in the cost of the journey is access to this spa thermal area. And this is a lot of what you're seeing. So that beautiful picture of the hydrotherapy pool, which is the blue, and then you see the gentleman below, he's enjoying these incredibly powerful hydrotherapy jets. It's kind of like getting a back and neck massage without paying for it. We have the sauna, we have a steam room, we have experience showers. We have this gorgeous Himalayan salt cave, which you see on the top right there.
Looks
Um,
incredible.
it really is extraordinary. And for our fitness buffs, so of course we have a gym with techno gym equipment. We have free weights and kettlebells and everything you can imagine. And trainers, you can hire them for a private training session. We have an outdoor running walking track, half basketball court, and the now all important pickleball court. And
Oh,
in
that's all the rage. That's great.
it is indeed. And within the gym, we have our wellness studio, and every day we offer a series of complimentary classes. Usually, one or two are going to be like high intensity cardio for maybe a half hour,
Okay.
and then there'll be stretching, Pilates, yoga. And in the afternoon, there's some kind of meditation. So it could be a Tibetan sound bowl relaxation therapy experience, it could be a chanting meditation, all complimentary. So again, whether you want to break a sweat or just be lulled into a state of relaxation, all of that is available to all of our guests at no charge. And remember I said we're owned by Italians, so of course food and beverage is our religion. Our Epicurean explorers, the gourmet traveler for whom fine food and great wines is an important part of their travel experience, we certainly have hit the mark with that. So we have, much like an ultra luxury resort versus a traditional cruise ship, we do not have a main dining room. We have 6 standalone restaurants, true restaurants that could be in any world capital, each with their own decor, ambiance, and cuisine, of
Okay.
course. So, starting with Anthology at the top left. Now, this is the only restaurant that is not included in the cost of the journey. This is a multi course tasting menu of gourmet Italian cuisine with optional wine pairings. Currently, the experience fee for this is €165 for the menu, 70 for the wine pairing.
Okay.
And that's actually a very, very reasonable charge for something like this. So for your clients, Donovan, who really are foodies, they would love it. But I'm going to be very transparent. If that is not the be all and end all of your personal journey, you don't even have to go there. Believe me, I have 5 incredible options where you're going to have extraordinary cuisine as well.
Okay.
Starting with Emporium Marketplace, which is our breakfast, lunch, and dinner restaurant. But what it is not, and I am very emphatic on this, it is not a buffet.
It's
And
not.
I'm very proud of that as well. So to me, buffet means self service. And we have no self service anywhere, which A is not luxury and B, I don't think is particularly sanitary.
Right, right.
So, for those joining us or listening to this later, if any of you have been to Harrods Food Hall, if you have been to Mario Batali's Italy, any food hall where you've got all these different food stations,
Right.
that is what Imperial Marketplace offers. Everything is still made to order, but it's just you're not touching the utensils after I've touched them, after Donovan's, after everybody's touched them.
Exactly. Much, much more sanitary.
I could not agree more. So, and we have such a wide variety. So, of course, you can everything under the sun you can imagine for breakfast. When we get to lunch and dinner, then our Neapolitan pizza oven is operating full steam ahead with a pizza master making incredible pizza. Again, a nod to our Italian owners. We have an al dente pasta bar, 4 fresh pastas daily with different
Oh
sauces.
my gosh.
We
Love
have
it.
a carvery, and I have to tell you this. So I have between the two ships, I've sailed 10 times. I'm very fortunate. The last 2 times I've been on board, one day they actually had a suckling pig. Now I have no
Oh my
idea
gosh.
how you do that on a ship, but I know it's not a fluke because they had it twice.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. Then they have a sandwich bar, a salad bar. So, for anybody who's out there is going, well, I like to eat healthily. We have grilled fish. We have so many wonderful things. But one last tip, this is very popular for breakfast and very popular for lunch. But people, because it's the most casual, sometimes overlook it for dinner. And they are cheating themselves because, in addition to everything I've shared with you, you will find a ceviche bar, a sushi bar,
Hmm.
crab
Hmm.
leg bar, oyster bar, and grilled lobster tails.
Yep.
So this is the most casual in terms of if you want to go here in shorts and a t-shirt, no problem, but you will still have a very elevated culinary experience. Now, moving over quickly to Fil Rouge, one of our fine dining venues. This is open for breakfast and dinner, a la carte menu, tableside service. So the opposite of Emporium Marketplace, very popular at dinner, but sometimes gets overlooked by guests at breakfast. And they're cheating themselves because one of our signature dishes at breakfast is eggs Benedict with caviar,
Oh
or
my
as
gosh.
I
Sounds
call it,
amazing.
the breakfast of champions. You
That
should
sounds
not
great.
miss that, right? Now, Marble and Co. is open for dinner only. This is our European steakhouse. We certainly do vegetarian and pescatarian options, but the focus is really on great cuts of meat. Med Yacht Club also open for dinner, and as you might expect, it features cuisines from the countries that border the Mediterranean, both European and North African. And finally, Sakura, that you saw in the video, is open for lunch with a limited menu, but at dinner it has a very robust offering, both of freshly made sushi and cuisines from Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam. So briefly, reservations are required at Anthology, Marble & Co. and Sakura. Your guests can make one dinner reservation at each one of those three at 90 days prior to embarkation. You are not limited to one visit, however, so once on board, if you want to return, you go to the dining desk, which is on deck 5, and
Okay.
just say, listen, we love Sakura. We'd like to go back. What do you have? So you're not limited to one. It's just one reservation. And I strongly encourage you to make that dinner reservation at the 90-day mark. That is the best way to make sure you get the date and the time that you want for the restaurant that you want.
It's a great tip. I have to tell you, I
Another,
want to stop you really
sure,
fast.
sure.
I had the opportunity actually to spend some time on Explora One in San Juan back in January of this year, and I got to eat in Emporium Marketplace, and of course tour the ship, all the public spaces and staterooms. And I just want to say it was probably some of the best food I've ever eaten, especially on a cruise ship, if you will. The amount of variety, the cleanliness. And then the other thing that really stood out that I just took notice of as someone that has been on a lot of cruises in the Emporium Marketplace, but this really shined everywhere throughout the ship is the crew and just how friendly and happy they were. The attentive service that they provided was really out of this world. And I just wanted to say too, and again, I think this is important for folks who are watching who maybe haven't been on a cruise before or maybe a little apprehensive, but all of the pictures that you've been showing, had it not been for the fact that the ocean is in the background, I don't know that you would know you're on a cruise ship or that you're on the water. It looks like a high end boutique hotel. Even the staterooms, the
Yeah.
suites, right? they don't look like typical cruise ship cabins. So you can really tell that the level of detail and attention to detail throughout the entire ship's design for all of the three Explora ships is just a couple
Well,
quick thoughts that I had from what you've shared so far.
and I appreciate that. It means so much coming from you because I know you certainly have seen and sailed on many, many of the ships out there. And that was truly was our goal. So I love hearing that. So quickly, just for those of you who like to cook, and I will tell you, I hate to cook, but I've done this twice and it is so much fun. Chef's Kitchen is a private culinary experience. There is an experience fee. I think it's 175 euros. It's open for up to 12 guests, so an individual or a couple can go sign up. And you can only do this once on board, important to note. So if this is something you're interested in, when you get on board, go check. But you can see all the different things that you learn. And honestly, it's so much fun because these are not just very talented master chefs, but they have a lot of personality. So they cook along with us, and then at the end, everybody eats their meal. I can assure you that none of our meals look remotely like the plate that the chef made. They probably didn't taste exactly the same either, but it's so much fun. So if that is something you enjoy, I really encourage it.
Mary, I
And
have
then
a
when
food question. I
sure,
have a food question
no, go
for you
ahead.
really fast.
Mhm.
Does Explorer Journeys offer in suite dining?
Absolutely, it's included in the cost of the journey. Thank you. And in fact, one of the things I often like to say, Donovan, is that on a 7-night journey with 6 standalone restaurants and in-suite dining, if you choose, you can have dinner in a different venue every single night.
Yeah,
And that
definitely.
is one of the ways those pillars of space and choice really make us unique on the water, and that you have so much variety. And I always say when you look at our ocean comp set, and they all do a phenomenal job, and I know their food and beverage is extraordinary. But if you were to stop and put yourself in a position where you think about your own personal favorite restaurant where you go for your birthday, anniversary, whatever it might be, because you love it, but then imagine having a meal there every day for 7 days. It would by day 3 or 4, it would the food would still be good, but just the experience starts to lose its luster. So on us,
Sure.
you have so much variety. Now, there are people who go and find their happy place on night 1 or 2, and they'll go back and again. But that's because they want to, not because they have to, and that's a big difference. So in-suite dining is extraordinary and included in the cost of the journey.
Perfect. Thank you so
Is
much.
absolutely. And so, of course, enrichment and entertainment, very important to us. So we have no less than 12 bars and lounges, which is extraordinary. Our main lounge is the Journeys Lounge in the top middle, but keeping to our philosophy of keeping it intimate. Even the largest lounge here is nowhere near large enough to have all of our guests on board here for a show. Very intentionally, because we don't want anything to feel big and cavernous. We also do not do a traditional cruise ship review. It's really more like a cabaret show with the house band and vocalists. They do a different show every night. When they're done, then the DJ starts, and the DJ stops and the bar closes when the last guests have left. And now, if that's a half an hour after the live show or 3 hours, that is the thing. Our commitment is we stay as long as our guests are having fun. A Stern Lounge is where we'll do some of our luminary lectures during the day or port talks. I've seen some very lively trivia games. It's funny, people love to get on ships and do trivia. And then we have entertainment here every evening. But when it really gets fun at a Stern Lounge is really kind of after dark at the 10:30 thing, because this is often where we will do silent disco karaoke. The same thing. I was on board one time, um, and everybody was just literally having the time of their lives with karaoke. And of course, everybody was horrible, which to me is the whole fun of karaoke. But it was supposed to go 10 to 11:30. I left at 12:15 a.m. I talked to somebody who said they left at 2. They were just having so much fun. So there's a lot of nightlife. Sky Bar is on deck 14 aft. This is really, it's kind of the unofficial place people immediately find and gather for sail away and sunset cocktails. We often have a DJ here. Just moving over to Explora Lounge, we have one of our 3 Steinway pianos. And here every day from 4 to 5, we do a traditional English high tea. So we have the trolley with the teas. We have the trolleys with the finger sandwiches, of course, the authentic English scones, the clotted creams, and the jams. And there's a full bar at Explorer Lounge. So my idea of high tea is champagne and a scone. You can do it. And then malt whiskey bar usually is pretty quiet before dinner. super hopping after because it's just a great place for an
Sure.
after dinner drink. It's those brown liquors. And we actually do have a cigar bar. There, you cannot smoke cigarettes anywhere inside the ship. There's a couple of decks where it's allowed, but this was designed as a cigar bar with the great ventilation. So if anybody out there is a cigar smoker, you can bring one on board. We also have a Davidoff humidor. So these are not all of our bars and lounges because I don't want to take up all of your time, just to give you an idea. And then for pools, another thing that our guests appreciate, because I've had this happen to me on land as well as at sea. I mean, my theory is if I am on vacation, I should be able to get up at the crack of 10 a.m., go have my breakfast, get ready, and go to the pool at 11:30 or 12 and find some place to sit. And how many times has it
Yes,
happened
yes.
where there's not, right? So, with our 4 pools, and I will be very clear, our pools are small because, again, none of our spaces are cavernous, heated saltwater pools. But we also have an incredible amount of sunbeds and cabanas scattered around the ship, a little bit away from the pools for the clients that want to read a book, take a nap, just have a very serene experience. And a fun fact, we do have more capacity for bodies in sunbeds than we do in suites. So there will be a spot for you outdoor on
Great to know.
our
No chair
ships.
hogs. There's no chair
No
hogs on
chair
Explorer
hogs,
Journeys.
exactly. And Helios Pool, by the way, is adults only. Now, last kind of category we like to talk about is the people seem to be drawn to us as the sports aficionado. So earlier this year, late in the summer, we announced our global brand ambassador is Yannick Sinner that you see here, the world's #2 tennis player. So that's brought us a lot of attention and excitement. He was actually on the ship a couple of weeks ago because I was at an event last week and I had clients who were on board and they were just so excited because he was doing all these talks and about his career and having a great time. And then the picture on the right is taken from the deck of Explora 2 in the port of Monte Carlo. So I'm going to show you a video. If this throws everything into heck again, I'll go back out and come back in, but you have to see this video because I think this is something that your guests will be
Let's see
really
it. I think
excited
it'll
about,
work.
Donovan. So we are the exclusive partner of Formula One around the world. The exclusive ocean partner. Sorry, let me preface that. So, as you may know, there's Grand Prix. There was just one in Austin this weekend, and they're all fabulous. But the Grand Dame of the Grand Prix, without a doubt, is the Grand Prix of Monte Carlo. And we are the only ship, other than the private ships, docked in Monte Carlo for the Grand Prix. So you can use us. It,
Wow.
it is really a big deal. So guests can actually book us like they would book a hotel for the 5 nights. It's actually June 3 to 8. And I will assure you that we are in far more attractively priced than the 5-star hotels in Monte Carlo and the
I'm sure.
surrounding area. But you can also purchase your grandstand tickets and paddock tickets through us. We do have that availability because there are many, many people who have always wanted to do the Grand Prix of Monte Carlo, but trying to get the tickets, trying to find the hotel, it's a very difficult and extraordinarily expensive thing. And we actually make it doable. So let's hold our breath and see if this video
Fingers
works.
crossed.
I know. So once again, June 3 to 8 next year. We still do have some space. It is going quickly. So if you're at all interested, please reach out to Donovan so he can get you working on that.
Perfect.
All right, now I
Amazing.
might have to go. So are you seeing my casino?
I see it.
Yay. So a small casino, ladies and gentlemen, just enough to have some fun, maybe try and win your fortune, book a few other journeys while you're on board.
I love it. Yeah.
So,
Book a new
just to
cruise.
tell you a little bit about where our ships are and where they'll be, both of them are wrapping up their Mediterranean season. They will be in the Caribbean for the winter and into the spring. I'm going to plant a seed that we still do have festive journeys. So, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year. We do have some space. We have
Okay.
some 7 and some 8-night journeys. So, if anyone here today or listening to this, if you've gone away in the past, but you found it, because we all know that the resorts in Mexico and the Caribbean, impose pretty long minimum lengths of stay, and their pricing certainly increases exorbitantly over that period. Just to
Sure.
give you a teaser, for 7 nights, we actually have a 7 night journey from Miami to San Juan, so you still have good airlift, December 22nd to 29. And it starts at, for 7 nights, $10,000 for two guests. You cannot
That's
touch
incredible.
that on land. So
No,
even if you haven't gone away in the past, you might want to start thinking about that.
not to even mention the experience, right? This is going to be on
Absolutely.
a completely different level than what you're going to live in Mexico or the DR,
Oh,
Jamaica, places like that.
you know what, Donald, and I will tell you this. I had another advisor who had family come to them. We were less expensive than a four-star Hilton in the Caribbean that
That's
included
amazing.
nothing.
That's
So
incredible.
I think there's a lot of people who traditionally don't go away because either it's just too long, especially if they have kids, or it's just, it becomes so ridiculously expensive. So keep us in mind.
Mhm.
And then we do have our loyalty program, the Explora Club. You'll find out more of the details on our website as to what you get at each level. But the other thing that your audience would be interested in is that we are matching your status on all these different brands.
Perfect.
So,
Very good.
yeah, I think it's great to know. Um, if you, and again, you can go online and you can kind of find out what you'll get.
Which I
So,
have
when
to
you,
say, I
sure,
think the hack there is if you're somebody that maybe hasn't cruised with the high end line before, right? Go take your cruise on MSC, kind of get a little taster of the company, status match into MSC, and then take that status and match it into Explore Journeys and kind of upgrade yourself a little bit. Maybe try
there
Yacht
you
Club
go.
on MSC, match your status, then come over to Explora and see what cruising really can be.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you work with Donovan, because he knows all the, well, one of the many reasons, because he knows all the inside tricks. And he's also going to give you this wonderful exclusive amenity, because part of the Travel Leaders Network, when you book through him, if it's 7 nights or longer, you will get, we call it a journey experience credit. You might know it as a shipboard credit. So it's $150 or per person, dollars or euros in
Amazing.
solo occupancy, and through caps at $300 or euros. And so
Amazing. Thank you
just
guys so much.
to wrap up here, um, you still got a couple of, like, 9 days, I guess, to work with Donovan to book something. And we have a great promotion and market. So we do not include shore excursions. We call those destination experiences. Those are not included in the cost of your journey. But right now, on every journey, if you book something between now and the end of the month, you will get a destination experience credit. So in the lead in category, the Ocean Terrace, that's the one I showed when we talked about the solos. It's $400 per suite. The penthouses, $700 per suite, and in those residences, $1,000 per suite. And this is to be applied to a destination experience. This combines with that $300 shipboard credit I just told you about. So you're really getting a nice, robust offering.
Definitely.
Um,
Well, and two, with so much already included,
yeah,
um, there's
absolutely.
not a lot of other things necessarily to spend money on, but certainly some good things that you can put your money
The
towards. So
spa, definitely, and the spa is a great way to use your shipboard credit. To me, it's the best. I could live in the spa. And so, before I see if anybody has any questions, I always like to end with this slide because, as Donovan mentioned, we are still somewhat new. We're getting our name out there. But in just over 2 years of operation, these are some of the awards and accolades we've received. Excuse me. And the one I like to focus on is the one in the middle, the best crew luxury cruise line from Cruise Critic. Because if any of you have ever been there, this is consumer driven. And as I always say, somebody could have 99 positive things and one complaint, and they'll spend one sentence on the 99 and a book on the complaint. So when you get that award from them, there's no advertising, there's no purchase. This is like people who have experienced us and shared their thoughts. So we're really very, very proud of that. So with that, thank you for putting up with my
amazing. Thank you.
technology issues that I couldn't share at full screen, but at least you got to see that.
That made it fun. That added a
Well,
little extra fun to everything.
that's a very generous for you to say. um, so I'd love to answer any questions if anybody
No,
has them.
thank you, Mary, so much. This was very helpful, and I did have a few questions that I wanted to throw your way that came across in chat.
Sure.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, no, would love to ask a couple questions. So the
Yeah.
Explorer, your Explorer journeys, how many guests are sailing on Explorer journeys? How big is the ship? How many other people are going to be on there with you?
So we are 461 suites. So if we were at full capacity, obviously we can all do math. That makes 922. However, we are privately owned, unlike the luxury brands that are part of these big conglomerates. And I will also preface, I'm sure my owners would appreciate this. They are business people. They've invested billions of euros, so they like to make money. But we do not have this obligation to sail full at any cost, which is why you're not going to see these fire sales sometimes where, I mean, at least I know you've seen them, Donovan, a few weeks before departure, people are kind of dropping their prices. And what happens with that? And I'm just going to say this, and I hope everyone will take this in the spirit in which I mean it. Guests who intentionally select a luxury experience do so because they want a luxury experience and they're willing to pay for it. And we are incredibly attractively priced. But when you start dropping your rates, you get people that really normally wouldn't sail in a luxury experience, that don't always necessarily dress and behave and act that way. And it changes the whole dynamics of the ship. And our owners don't want to do that. So we do not push and drop rates into whatever we need to do to make sure that every single suite is taken. We've
Sure.
average would be in high season 750 to 800 guests would be a really fair. Now I
Okay.
will tell you one other little story. I sailed with my husband this summer, who is not in our industry. We've been married 33 years, so we like each other, but he loves to bust my chops. And so on day three, he comes up to me and he goes, well, you're not doing your job very well because the ship doesn't feel very crowded. And I said, au contraire, my love. We have
Yeah,
800
that's
guests on
exactly the
board.
point.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly. We have 800 guests on board, but you don't know it because we never, and again, space, choice, all these options. I would say the only time you
no, I
might
love
wait
it, and
online, yeah, sorry, I was going to say the only time you might wait in line is if you're waiting for an omelet at breakfast, and there might be two or three people. So,
certainly. No, I love it. And just, one of the things that I hear so often from folks about cruising is they see these massive ships with four, five,
yeah,
6+ thousand people. They're crowded. There's lines for the buffet, and they're just
yeah,
totally turned off about cruising, even if they're seasoned cruisers. So I think this just shows that there's an entirely different world of cruising out there that is not crowds
absolutely.
and lines and buffet
Yep,
service and crazy parties, right? You can have a relaxing vacation, have a great time with less than 1,000 other people, have great
yeah,
service, and spend on par with what you're going to spend again for that all inclusive in Mexico or wherever you like to go. So. Um, it's definitely something that I think folks should consider. Now, I wanted to ask too. So, I have a good deal of clients that have sailed in the past on NCL Haven, right? The Retreat with Celebrity, Yacht
mm-hmm,
Club with MSC. So,
yep,
you know, I'm just curious your thoughts. So, you see people, they start out with cruising, then maybe they try ship within a ship. Seems to me Explorer Journeys would be that next kind of evolution in your cruising.
absolutely. And I would say there is a good chance that you would end up paying less on us than when you take the concierge level and some of the premiums, because I think there's still some things that some
Hmm.
add-ons. And as I said, for us, the only thing, I mean, besides the obvious, spa's never included, but for us, shore excursions are not included. Um, Everything else is included, and you are getting that true luxury experience. So, yeah, we have a lot of guests who actually make that leap because they realize that we're the similarly priced, if not more attractively priced, for a true luxury experience. I think that's a great, really good point, Donovan, and a great way for some of your guests to think, well, okay, we like it here, and it's nice to have that ship within a ship, but it's even nicer to just be on a ship where everything is luxury. Did I lose you? Oh,
Exactly. No.
oh, okay.
One last thing I had for you. So, you have Explora 3, Explora 4 coming out in the future. Obviously,
Yeah.
Explora Journeys. Oh, can you hear me? Am I coming
Yeah, I can
across
hear you just
okay?
fine. Yep, I can hear you.
There we go. Now, I was just touching on, so we have Explorer 3, we have Explorer 4 that will be coming out in
Mm-hmm.
the future. Obviously, Explorer Journey is a worldwide um, cruise company. Alaska, I know, is coming in 2027. So,
Yep, summer
what do you see in the
2027.
future for Explorer Journeys? Right, what do we have in terms of new ships and new destinations?
So we will be a total of 6 ships by 2028. As you said, next summer, Explorer 3 comes out. And I'm going to say something. And again, this may not impact your audience as much as I think it will be you, but it's actually going to be delivered early, Donovan. When was the last time a cruise ship ever did that? Kind of surprising. But it's going to be delivered early. And she is going from, she'll be built in Italy. Then she's going to make her way up through Northern Europe, over to the eastern seaboard of Canada, down through the Panama Canal, and then
Usually, it's
over.
delay and delay and delay.
Oh, and we were doing so well. Did you hear what I said about Explorer 3 or no? Did you happen to hear what I said about Explorer 3, Donovan? Unbelievable. Donovan, are you hearing me or did I lose you again?
Oh, I can hear
Donovan?
you. You're good.
Oh, okay. Good. Sorry, I think there was a little bit, maybe just a little buffering or something. So I was just saying Explorer 3 will launch next summer. She's being built in Italy. She'll make her way up to Northern Europe, Iceland, Greenland. Some amazing journeys there. Then she'll go across to Canada. So some of the leaf peeping, gorgeous, down through the Panama Canal, and then up to Alaska for summer of 2027. Explorer 4 and 5 come out in 2027, and Explorer 6 comes out in 2028. Oh, I think we got another delay.